Okay, so we've been talking about graphing lines, and we've learned a couple different ways to do that. So we're going to use this little Venn diagram to talk about the different ways we can graph lines. Actually, it's not a Venn diagram. It's a, I can't remember what these things are called. Anyway, some kind of graphic organizer. I can't remember what its name is. The first way that we learned to graph lines was by making a table. And that was when we made our XY table, and we usually plugged in -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And then the next way we learned was using the X and Y intercepts. And we used that method when it was given to us in standard form, AX plus BY equals C. And that was when we made the little table with the zeros. So what we're going to talk about today is using the slope intercept form. And the sloped intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so let me... All right, so our first learning objective is we will write equations in the slope intercept form. So again, the slope intercept form is just y equals mx plus b. The m stands for the slope. We already knew that from before. And the b is the y-intercept. Which axis is the y-intercept on? It's not a rhetorical question. Which axis? Everybody? Everybody? Y. Yes, it's on the y-axis. Okay, so keep that in mind when we get to graphing these. It's on the y-axis, not the x-axis. Okay, so for example 1, we're going to write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. My slope is m. The y-intercept is b, so all you have to do is rewrite it, putting those values in. So instead of m, I write 1/4. Instead of b, I write 4. And that's all you have to do for those problems. It's just plug in the values they gave you. Okay? So you guys get to do one on your whiteboards. Okay, so you should have gotten y equals -9x minus 5/4. Here's another one for you guys to do on your whiteboards. Yes, just write the equation. All right, so that one was y equals 5x minus 1. Okay, next thing we're going to do is graph given the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so you need to write your learning objective there in your notes. Students will graph a line given the slope and the y-intercept. Students will graph the line given the slope and the y-intercept. All right, so there's basically just 3 steps you have to follow to do it. First, you plot the y-intercept. And everybody, where did we say that was?
The y-axis.
Everybody?
The y-axis.
Thank you. Okay, so do not start on the x-axis. Start on the y-axis. All right, then you use the slope to plot 2 more points. And then you just draw a line through the points. Okay, so we are going to graph the line that has a slope of -2/5 and a y-intercept of 4. So where I start is on my y-intercept of 4 on the y-axis. So I go to a +4 on the y-axis. Then I'm going to use my slope. So slope, we recall, is rise over run. In this case, it's a -2 over +5. Remember, I told you guys to leave the bottom positive and always put the negative on top if it was negative. So a -2 means I'm going to be going up or down. I'm going to be going down 2. And then I'm going to be going to the right 5. So I start at the 4, I go down 2, and then right 5. Down 2, right 5. Yeah, if you leave the positive on the bottom, it will always be to the right. Okay, and then you just draw the line through the points. Okay, so I'm going to have you guys do one on your whiteboards. I'm going to have you graph a line that has a slope of 3/4 and the y-intercept is at -2. So where are we starting? At -2. All right, so we started at -2 on the y-axis, and then we went up 3 over 4. So your line should have looked like that. Okay, this next one is in your notes. Now we're going to graph a line that has a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of -3. So you want to remember your slope is rise over run. So if you have a 2, you might want to write it 2 over 1 just so you remember that you also have to go to the right one. So we're going to go up or down this time. Up this time. We're going to go up 2, and we're going to go to the right just 1. And my y-intercept is -3, so I'll start at -3 on the y-axis. I go up 2 and over 1, up 2 and over 1.
Can't you go like down 2, left 1, 2?
Yes, you can also do the opposite. You could go down 2 and left 1, and you would get the same thing. All right, so on your whiteboards, I want you guys to graph a line that has a slope of -3 and a y-intercept of 4. Okay, so we started at a +4 on the y-axis. Our slope was -3, so we go down 3 and to the right 1. Down 3 to the right 1. Okay, next lesson objective. Students graph lines using the slope-intercept form. All right, so we're going to graph the equation 3x minus 1. So we know that the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And so in this case, my slope is right here, and my y-intercept is right there. So the slope is going to be 3 over 1. And b is -1. So I go to -1 on the y-axis, and then I go up 3 and over 1. So it's essentially just putting together the two things that we just did prior to this. And of course, you always want to remember we're starting on the y-axis. Okay? Any questions? All right, so when you're done writing that down, you guys can graph this one on your whiteboards. Okay, so my slope is right here in front of the x, -2. My y-intercept is a +3, so you started at 3, you went down 2 to the right 1. Looks like most of you were doing that just fine. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is, what if it's not in slope-intercept form? If the equation is not in slope-intercept form, then you need to get y alone. In other words, put it into y equals mx plus b form. So if I have the equation 3x plus 4y equals 16, I'm going to get the y alone. The reason I'm not going to do this one with intercepts is, see how it looks like, oh, this one might work to just make the table with the x and y is 0. But if I would make y 0, it's not going to divide evenly, is it? So I don't want to do it that way because I'm going to end up with a fraction. So instead, I'm going to rearrange the equation and put it into y equals mx plus b form. All right, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Then I have 4y equals -3x plus 16. And that's why, remember in chapter 2 when I had you guys rearranging equations, I told you I always wanted the x term to be before the term with just a number? This is why. And then you divide everything by 4. And that's why I also told you not to just put the whole thing over 4, but to divide each term by 4. So yeah, you want to make sure you remember to divide everything. All right, so then when I do that, I'm left with y equals -3/4 x plus 4. So I'm going to start at the +4, and my slope is -3/4, so I'll go down 3 and to the right 4. Okay, so I have one for you guys to do on your whiteboards. Your equation is 5x minus 2y equals 8. So write the equation in slope-intercept form. That's the first thing I want you guys to do, is show me what you get when you do the y equals mx plus b. Show that to me, and then after I've told you you have it right, go ahead and graph it. Okay, so some of you are struggling. Let's do this here. All right, so I've got 5x minus 2y equals 8. So I subtract the 5x, and I have -2y equals -5x plus 8. Then you divide everything by -2. And so when you divide everything by -2, you end up with y equals +5/2 x minus 4. So that's what you should be graphing. Okay, so when we graph that line, we start at -4. We go up 5 and over 2. And I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you.